Welcome to Sweden. I'm your presenter today, David Bly, and I hope you enjoy the presentation. We're here to explain why Sweden is the perfect place to start a business. Some basic information on Sweden. For your information, Sweden is in Northern Europe, bordering the Baltic Sea and the Gulf of Bothnia, and is between Finland and Norway. It has a population of a little more than 9 million with an area a little over 450,000 square kilometers, a median age of 42.2 years with a life expectancy which is above average at 81.18 years. A GDP of 395.8 billion with a labor force a little more than 5 million people. Imports and exports are extremely good. Exports a little more than 177 billion, imports a little more than 166 billion. Its climate is temperate in the south but subarctic in the north. The terrain is mostly flat or gently rolling lowlands with mountains in the west. It has easy transportation and telecommunication. It has over 230 airports and water galore. Since you're all here to try and determine whether Sweden would be a good place for you to start a business or expand your current business, most of you know that the big reasons not to would be because of country risk. Country risk involves the political system, laws and regulations against foreign firms, the legal system, whether it's poor or lacking, how much bureaucracy or red tape do you have to go through? And corruption or other ethical blunders. Is there government intervention or protectionism? Has the national economy been mismanaged or has it just failed? We hope to positively answer all these questions for you with an unequivocal, not a problem in Sweden. All power proceeds from the people. That is the foundation of the democracy in Sweden. Everyone has the same rights, the same opportunities, and everyone is free to scrutinize how politicians and public agencies work. General elections in Sweden are held every 4 years, and the Swedish Constitution defines how Sweden is governed. It regulates relationships between decision-making and executive power, and the basic rights and freedom of their citizens. There's 4 fundamental laws that make up the Constitution. The instrument of government, which guarantees citizens the right to obtain information freely, hold demonstrations, form political parties, and practice religion. The Act of Succession regulates the rights of the members of the House and how they can accede to the Swedish throne. The Freedom of Press Act sets out the principle of public access to official documents in order to guarantee an open society. And the law on freedom of expression, it pretty much is like the Freedom of Press Act in regards to the prohibition of censorship, the freedom to communicate information, and the right to be anonymous. Sweden is a civil law country. It is a constitutional monarchy with a parliamentary form of government. Its current constitution was adopted in 1974. The Swedish Constitution is made up of 4 fundamental texts, which we've already explained. Sweden has a penal law system, a civil law system, and an extensive administrative system. Sweden has 2 parallel court systems. The general courts that are comprised of district courts, courts of appeals, and the Supreme Court, and the general administrative courts that are comprised of county administrative courts, administrative courts of appeal, and the Supreme Administrative Court. In addition, there are several special courts and tribunals such as labor court and market court to hear specific kinds of cases. Sweden does not have a constitutional court. Sweden's governance as a whole is built on decentralization. On a local and regional level, municipalities and county councils are autonomous political bodies with clearly defined areas of responsibility. Municipalities deal with city planning and schools, for example, while county councils are in charge of areas such as healthcare and infrastructure. Sweden has been a member of the EU since 1995, which means that many new laws enacted in Sweden start out as EU directives. And once again, all power proceeds from the people. Sweden has a decentralized governments with municipalities and counties that are autonomous and has been a member of the EU since 1995. It has tried very hard and succeeded in limiting bureaucracy and red tape. It is very business friendly, and it continues to try and get better and better at it. Corruption, or should we say lack thereof, in Sweden. Sweden has been consistently in the top 5, if not the top 10 rankings of corruption based on Transparency.org's ratings, and in 2012 was rated at number 4 out of 176. But they are consistently and have for years been in the top few. Also, the Heritage.org 2013 ratings has Sweden's economy rated as the 18th freest in the world and the number 9 in the European region out of 43. And they base this on many factors. And some of the statements you can read are: Sweden's economic resilience has long been sustained by solid foundations of economic freedom. The judicial system, independent and free of corruption, strongly protects property rights and upholds the rule of law. The economy is open to global trade and investment, and high levels of regulatory transparency and efficiency encourage vibrant entrepreneurial activity. Monetary stability is well maintained, and inflationary pressures are under control. So you can see this bodes well for business in Sweden. Ethics and corporate social responsibility, or CSR, is another area that Sweden is a world leader in. In Sweden's entrepreneurs and companies have proven that you don't have to exploit people or the environment to make a profit. And global surveys almost always put Swedish companies among the world's leaders when it comes to CSR, taking issues such as climate change, equality, human rights, and anti-corruption into account in their business activities. Sweden's known around the world for the way it takes care of its citizens with generous welfare benefits. The same compassionate approach has been part of the Swedish way of doing business and is being exported around the world by its multinational corporations. Swedish companies were among the first to show that competitiveness does not have to come at the expense of compassion. IKEA is considered one of the world's best companies when it comes to the way it deals with environment and labor. Swedish retailer H&M introduced a code of conduct for CSR as far back as 1997. And telecom giant Ericsson was one of the first companies to support the United Nations Global Compact and has implemented its own code of conduct. Extensive environmental protection and measures to improve work environments, investments in clean tech. These are all ways that Swedish companies lead the way in ethics and corporate social responsibility.